One of our particular interests here is looking at compounds that can improve learning and memory. We call them nootropic compounds, and that comes from the Greek root word for knowing. We'd like to know how the brain functions, and we'd like to know what we can do to make the brain function better. Well, our real goals were to see specifically what the effects of the different ingredients in Neurobright could do in terms of enhancement of learning and memory. We wanted to see whether this could actually enhance what we call declarative memories, the sort of memory that people have troubles with as they age. Neurobright, which was the combination of microhydrin with a number of different herbal antioxidants, produced a really nice, very significant, statistically significant improvement in learning and memory, not only in young animals, but particularly notably in aging animals. And those are the animals that have the greatest amount of memory problems, just like aging people have memory problems. There have been a large number of studies. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has been very interested, in fact, in the ability of antioxidants to improve brain function. As we get older, we produce more and more free radicals in the brain, and increasing free radical load requires an increase in the amount of antioxidants to essentially repair the damage that those free radicals are doing. Under normal conditions, we probably don't take in enough antioxidants in our normal diet. That's why people take vitamin pills and take supplements. But even that alone is probably not sufficient. It looks like by adding microhydrin into the mix along with these other antioxidants, it actually produces a significant benefit above what supplementation with the antioxidants alone can produce. Well, rats are actually a very standard experimental model that people use for preclinical testing. They're a nice, easy species to work with. They'll accept a diet on a regular basis. They have the very similar developmental lifespan to what people have. You know, they go through infancy, through childhood, through adolescence, through normal adulthood, and then they have an extended senescence period too as they get older. And we're particularly interested in things at the end of the lifespan, in the aging range, from middle age on up to quite advanced age. And that's particularly areas where we see a lot of potential benefits for development of compounds that can actually improve learning and memory. What we did was treat rats daily with either the Neurobright or with the various components of Neurobright or the controlled diet. And then every morning they were placed onto a spatial maze. And there were chocolate milk rewards located at the end of the maze. So rats really like chocolate milk. They would run around looking for that. And every day it was located in a different location. We got a major improvement in the ability of rats to learn new sorts of information. They were learning where their breakfast and lunch was on a given day. And each day the conditions changed, so they had to learn something new every day. And yet the generality was that they were looking for a particular meal and where it was located. And what they were able to do was improve their learning rate. So they actually, compared to the untreated controls, or even to the animals that were receiving part of the components that make up Neurobright, but not the full recipe, they actually showed a major improvement. They were learning at about 50% faster than the animals that were not treated with Neurobright components. Much more profound when we looked at the aging. Aging individuals are the ones that tend to have the most memory problems. And in fact, that's familiar with most human beings when they can't remember where their car keys are, can't remember where they parked their car, can't remember the name of someone that they just met. Those are all what we call declarative memory errors. Well, essentially what we found, the amount of improvement in the learning of these equivalent of 65-year-old individuals was a shift down to the range of somewhere early middle age, 40-year-old, somewhere in that range. Some rats or some individuals are what we call slow learners. They have trouble learning new things, much greater difficulty. In fact, very often fail to learn new things. So someone might never be able to remember where they put their keys. They have basically the choice of only putting their keys in one spot every day, or they'll never find their keys again. For the rats, the difficulty was remembering where they'd been 2 or 3 hours before. So then they had a choice. Should I go back to a given location or should I go to a new location? The slow animals never could learn that distinction. They couldn't remember something 2 or 3 hours earlier. When we gave the rats Neurobright, we lost that group. We had no animals that were slow learners any longer. all of them were able to remember, even if they were still slightly slower than young animals, they still all showed an improvement in their learning ability. Well, sure. In fact, that's why we tested and did the psychomotor testing as well. Not just effects on learning and memory, but effects on strength and endurance, improvements in balance, improvements just in decision making. What should I do in a given situation? It seemed to have a fairly global range of effects. Neurobright actually looks like it's got a lot of promise for improving learning and memory, not just in rats, but in people as well. Ability to learn new things, ability to remember things, and then the ability to use that information. And not only just to remember, but also then to do something with it. Not just in terms of mental improvement, but in terms of physical activity, being able to process the information, being able to go out, move around the environment, and do something with it. I've been taking it myself. I have no hesitation to do so. And in fact, I haven't taken any memory tests, but I feel good taking the product.